Well, good afternoon, viewers. Today we have a 1999 Mercedes-Benz CLK 320, and the customer just dropped it off about an hour ago. He's got a complaint where the battery is going dead. He says he leaves it sitting for a couple of days and the battery will be dead. Now, I just drove it in the shop, and when I drove it in, the interior light was on. This one was on right here. Now I see it's gone off. But all the way in the shop, that interior light was on. Now it's going off routinely. Unless I didn't have the door closed. But this one is not on. Either this one's burnt out or this one's deactivated. Well, first and foremost, it's got 137,000 kilometers on it. This is a summer car. He only drives it in the summer. So before we disconnect the battery to check for a parasitic draw, we're going to do a scan of all the computers to see if there's any codes that might give us a hint. So this is a returning vehicle. It's got 135,000, 137,500 or something like that. Was in here a couple of years ago and had an interesting problem. You can't do a network scan of all the controllers? Huh. Well, that sucks. I'm going to use a different scanner. Snap-on scan tool doesn't perform a network scan on this car, probably because it's a 99. So we'll see what this Think Tool Pro will do. Snap-on Scan Tool didn't start doing network scans of most vehicles that were capable of it until about 2004 and 5. So some of the older vehicles, so it doesn't even pull the VIN on this thing. Let's skip it. Can't really blame them. Mercedes-Benz. Got new updated software. Probably have to update the software on here. Manually select. So this looks like it's doing a health report check on the vehicle, but it's very slow. So I'll pick up when we get to the end of it. So we're almost 7 minutes into this health report and we're only at 62%. So this is painfully slow. I'm not sure if it's only talked to the ECM or what's going on here. It doesn't support a network scan with this scan tool either, so I can't blame Snap-on. So we're at 8 minutes and 30 seconds at 97%. I don't know, this thing doesn't support a network scan by the looks of it, or didn't pull up a topology map or give me the option for a topology map. So this may be a total waste of time doing this network scan. Or this health report. Come on, you can do it. It's finished, 100%. 9 minutes. For whatever reason, only the engine control modules responded. I don't know why all these other ones are grayed out. Well, we're going to give up and just put a ammeter in series in the battery post and see what kind of draw we have out of this thing. So I put a disconnect switch in series between the battery negative post and the battery cable. And I've turned the disconnect switch off to open it and got an ammeter connected across the post of the disconnect switch, and we're reading 830 milliamps or 0.83 amps. But the trunk light is on. I have the door open, but I have the door jamb switch wedged, so there's no obvious interior lights on. Now I do have this diagnostic connector plugged in underneath the dash, so we're going to disconnect that, because I'm sure that's drawing about 100 milliamps. Let's see what it went down to. It actually went up. Isn't that interesting? Give it time for it to... So now it's down to 0.78 or 780. Let's change the resolution on this thing to 1 amp. 782 milliamps. Okay. Wonder how to get this trunk light off. Latch switch is in the latch here. Oh, there's the switch right there. I pushed it with my finger. And now it's dropped down to 0.04. 42 milliamps. Over spiked. Wonder if there's some way I can depress that. I wonder if that switch is what works that switch. Looks like it pushes on this right here. That's about the right spot. Yeah, that looks about right. .42 milliamps will not kill the battery. This has got a fairly big battery in it. Lots of reserve capacity. It doesn't look that old, but then it's in the trunk and really fairly well protected. But 42 milliamps would not cause a battery to go dead in 2 days. I think we best test the battery itself. Just make sure that this trunk lid light is going out. So I'm going to close the trunk with the wires going through the trunk lid here. It's like the light did not go off. Yeah, if I press the button here, it goes off. I got to press it in about halfway and it goes off. So something's not tripping the switch correctly. I'm going to put a piece of, put some dielectric grease on the end of it so I can see exactly where it touches it. So I put some white paint on the end of that button, and it looks like it contacted right here. I think it's supposed to contact right here, but this trim is not loose. I'm sure it's been removed at one time or another. Trunk is closing right. Let's close this again. Let's try pushing down on it. And it's still... So it's not tripping that switch right. Interesting. So I turned the switch around 180 degrees in the trunk lid and closed it. Now it's off. And I noticed that red light was on all the time. That probably indicates the trunk is open. I did see that light on earlier. So that little switch, I think, is cracked. I put a little rubber bumper on the end of it. A plug from a brake bleeder screw. As long as this light is off, the trunk light is off. So I think that's it for now. That's all we're going to do with this thing. I'll tell the customer to pay attention to that. And maybe he can go on Amazon and order up a new switch. It takes like 3 seconds to change it. Well, maybe 30 seconds. So the customer asked me to check his AC because it's not working. And it's not because it's empty. You got 86 pounds on the low side and 85, 90 pounds on the high side. Static pressure is roughly equivalent to temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So the system is not empty, but the AC compressor is not running. So then I attempted to look at the HVAC controls to see if the AC is being commanded on. And I got the scanner plugged into the OBD2 port. And I come to realize that this requires a Mercedes-Benz proprietary scan tool for anything other than OBD2. It plugs into this OBD1 port. I should have that connector, but I'm going to have to check my tickle trunk. So even the Snap-on scan tool says connect the MB-1 adapter with the S33 key. Use the DA5 cable adapter, location engine compartment, left side near strut. Well, that's the right side, passenger side. Remove the cap, it says. So I'll see if I can find that connector. So that's the MB1 adapter. And it says the S33 key. I forgot about all these stupid keys. S33, 17, S4, S33. So that key goes into, now we get to play Super Mario Brothers. Let's get this hooked up with the other adapter. So we're hooked up now, I believe. Let's click continue. Continue, it says the fans might run. See if it communicates. That's why the other Think Tool scan tool is only able to get into the engine ECM, because that's all that's available at the OBD2 connector. That's just to make it North American vehicle compliant. I haven't used this adapter forever. Continue. That's why it also took so long to do a network. Let's see if there's any codes in the HVAC. No codes present. No data? What? That makes it really fun. Codes, clear codes, review ECU idea. Well, that's just wonderful. How do you diagnose the AC system? Well, let's see if we can get into engine controls. I'm not sure what ECM or what module controls the... I gotta turn the key off. Okay, so we've cycled the key. It's running again. Let's go into the engine and see if there's any data. Yeah, same adapter connector. Did it say S20? I should have paid attention to that. You mean to tell me I got to change keys for different computers? Well, we'll find out in a second. Come on, give up already. I think it said they got switched the S20 key, but normally when you put one key in, it was... Now let's try this again. Engine, S20 key. Damn. Okay, I'm going to switch the adapter. Okay, so now we have the Pac-Man card in there. Let's try this. Can't believe there's no data in the HVAC system module. Like AC request, AC command, AC pressure status, pressure switch status. No wonder nobody wants to work on these things. First of all, most shops won't even have the adapters for OBD1 anymore. And it's not fast. Well, it's requesting ECU information. Let's check for codes. No codes. Not going to be lucky. But at least we got data here. Data values for unsupported optional items may be displayed as default values. Please ignore. Examples: cylinders 9 to 12 on a V8. AC values on a vehicle without AC, and cruise control values on vehicles without cruise control. Okay, good to know. Adoption, fan status. How about AC status? Temperature of coolant 93, engine speed, fan capacity, request by AC 0. So it doesn't show you the AC status. It's not overheating. How are you supposed to diagnose the AC here? What under general data? Oh boy. Running status maybe? Nothing there. I still can't believe there's no HVAC data. Let's see if there's any other controllers. Let's try functional tests, maybe actuator tests. If running, please turn off and restart. Okay. Turning off. Continue. Cooling fans, but no AC clutch. Engine climate control electric cooling fan. If the engine is running, turn the engine off and turn the key on. If the engine is stalled, turn the engine off, but turn the key on. Engine off, key on. What are we going to do now? I click continue. Actuator tests. That's the same thing. Okay. I'm going to look around. Well, I can't find any data related to the HVAC AC status, so I'm going to have to go old school on this thing. Look at the wiring schematic, find out where the AC compressor clutch relay is. The compressor clutch is not accessible that easy. Otherwise, I just go see if there's power and ground to it right now. So let's pull up a wiring diagram and have a look at this thing. So here's the wiring diagram, or one of the wiring diagrams for the HVAC system, and they call this module AC push button control module. And it shows the compressor clutch directly controlled from that. I'm going to highlight that circuit. It goes through the fuse box, out of the fuse box directly to the AC clutch, and the clutch coil is grounded. Doesn't show a relay. That's just bizarre. Now there are several fuses that feed power in this system. Fuse 20, 25, 26. I suppose we should check those fuses at least. So all the fuses check good. I located the wire going to the AC compressor. And I checked for power on it. There's no power on it. If I put power on it with a jumper wire, the compressor runs and the pressures start to drop, and I'm sure the AC is working. So there's a problem with the controls. Makes it very difficult to diagnose without data. So doing a little research on Identifix, I find a couple of cases of no AC with the Econo light on. It says verify the full charge of refrigerant is in the AC system by evacuating the recharge system with the correct amount. Well, I haven't actually done that, but I know it's not empty. Then it says use onboard diagnostic procedure to check for stored DTCs. If there are no DTCs, use onboard diagnostic procedure to read actual values on sensor inputs. To check actual values on sensor inputs, perform control panel procedure. Ignition on, press the auto button. Set both temperature selectors to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll have to figure out what that is in Celsius. Press rest for greater than 5 seconds. The left display will alternately show the number 1 and the in-car temperature, example 72 degrees Fahrenheit. By pressing auto button, the next highest test step is displayed. The main areas of concern are numbers 3, heater core temperature left, heater core temperature right, number 4, number 5, evaporator temperature sensor, and number 7, refrigerant pressure in bar. All values displayed must be within reason to actual operating conditions of the system. For instance, if number 5 states 150 degrees Fahrenheit and you know your evaporator is 48 degrees Fahrenheit, that sensor is at fault. So we're going to do that, but I'm going to call it a night for now. It's after 8. It's enough for one day. So we're going to try this. It bugged me, so I thought I'd try this. So it says to set the temperature to 72 Fahrenheit, which is 22 Celsius. And then press the rest button for greater than 5 seconds. So that's the in-car temp sensor, 28 Celsius, that's about right. Then press the auto button to go to number 2. Number 2 is 24 Celsius. Number 2 is, let's see here. Number 2 is outside temperature, 24 Celsius, that's reasonable. Number 3 is 31. So number 3 is left heater core temperature, 31 Celsius is reasonable. Number 4 is right heater core temperature, same thing, 31. Number 5 is evaporator temperature, 41, that's reasonable. Number 6 is coolant temperature, 87 Celsius, that's reasonable. Number 7 is AC pressure in bar, 4 bar, 15 times 4, 15, 30, 60. I suppose that could be a little low. So none of these values are out of range, except possibly that one. You know what, just to be safe, I'm going to evacuate and recharge the system, because maybe the system pressure is a little on the low side. And I'd hate to go through all this trouble just to figure out that that's what it is. So according to the gauges, I've got just under 90 psi. 4 bar is 58.5 psi. So let's recover it and see what comes out, and then recharge it for the time it's going to take. So we got out just around 0.2 kilograms. It takes 0.8 kilograms to fill it. We're already into a negative pressure, so the system was definitely low. Yeah, it calls for 0.85 kg. So we'll draw it down to a vacuum and recharge it with the proper amount and see what happens next. Then we'll check that pressure reading on the AC control head. So 0.125 kilograms is what we recovered from it. So there's the status of the pressure sensor reading now. 0 bar. It's drawn down to a vacuum. We're drawing it down to a vacuum for 20 minutes. Well, it's working again. Isn't that special? Now, having no refrigerant, it didn't set any fault codes either, because I had the key on when it was under a vacuum. Now, I put dye in this thing a couple of years ago, and I already looked around the compressor and the evaporator core and the condenser, and I don't see any signs of it. But we're going to check the system a little closer. But it's blowing cold air now. Let's check it. Let's look at the pressures. You can see the control circuit is lit up now. High side pressure around 175, 180. And low side pressure at 35, 34. So it was low. I'm curious as to what the pressure reading will be in the self-diagnostic status. Let's turn this off and check that. So the procedure again, turn the temperature up to 22 Celsius on both sides. And then press the rest button for greater than 5 seconds. Mode 1 is 24, 33, 16, 15, 33, 88. Now it's 7 bar. It was 4 bar before. Interesting. So that's how you get into the built-in diagnostics again. Set the temperature to 22 Celsius or 72 Fahrenheit on both sides. Press this rest button for 5 seconds. Then it'll start at number 1 and use the auto button to advance through the different values. Here's the chart. I'm sure you can Google it and you'll find it online. So we're going to check this thing for leaks.